Imagine a man from the mid-1800s, sturdily built, with striking blue eyes, known to catch the wandering eye with his slow, steady gait and warm presence. His ideas are described by his close acquaintances as years ahead of his time, and his energy entrances those searching for a mentor or friend. This man, upon compiling his personal project, carries a large stack of discombobulated papers to a small printing press in Brooklyn with the intention to publish a masterpiece. This man employs nothing more than a third-grade education in his life experience to tailor a collection of poems dedicated en masse to all of the camarados of America. This man is Walt Whitman, a transcendental poet who used nature as a mirror of the inner self. Loose green cloth binds his poetry collection together, and the title Leaves of Grass is engraved with gold leaves and roots to create the illusion that the words grow out of the cover. Once published, the book barely sells but a handful of copies, of which the public's reaction is largely negative. The book's iconoclastic messages about uprooting institutionalism and celebrating sexuality, topics typically avoided in the conservative, judgmental public, push readers away and leave a lasting mark on Whitman's reputation.
I am of old and young, of the foolish as much as the wise, regardless of others, ever regardful of others, maternal as well as paternal, a child as well as a man.
Whitman's free verse poetry is loose-flowing, a patternless speech that does not possess stanzaic limits or a stiff structural makeup. His poems gather their momentum through their cyclic cadence, a dance of sonorous repetition, parallel structure, and strategic spacing that makes reciting them a bouncy, layered journey of the mouth. Inspired by the operas he frequently attended, Whitman designs his poems to read as songs, which are fuller, melodious versions of his dialogues on nature and the power of the collective. His discussions of the divine self through liberation from social conditioning are only possible with the transcendentalist tenets of reincarnation, immortality, and deism. Whitman pushes his audience to recognize the God within them, the power of autonomy, and their ability to authentically express their true self using nature as a paradigm of unfettered freedom. Symbolic to his poems are the plethoric grasses that thrive across the globe, expressing their mystical ability to be individual sentient blades within a collective field. Whitman's style captures this enchantment of the oneness of existence. He seeks out imaginative, meaningful parallels on Earth to elucidate the deep connection between all life forms and all coexisting phenomena within the cosmos.
Whoever you are, motion and reflection are especially for you. The divine ship sails the divine sea for you. You are he or she for whom the sun and the moon hang in the sky. For none more than you are the present and the past. For none more than you is immortality.
Whitman's cosmic body of poetic evidence relies upon the literary strategies of paradox, contradiction, and hypocrisy to mimic human thought. The mind's inability to see past itself, to see from a higher perspective of connectivity, is the reason behind Whitman's occasional dips into egotism and self-absorption. These dark patterns reflect the population's behavior in a way that illuminates readers' understanding of their own illusions about the world. Polarity serves Whitman as a tool that sheds light upon the futility of defining objects in a singular way. Portraying one as many allows Whitman an elastic interpretation of the world, which enables him to speak of abstractions without logic or reason caging him in. Whitman proposes that deeply embedded within the soul, the utmost truth resides in plain sight. Leaves of Grass, for Whitman's purposes, is a mirror, a reflective vessel that pushes readers to question where their self begins and ends in relation to other beings. As a reflection of the masses, Whitman makes it his responsibility to adopt society's fears, loves, desires, objectives, biases, and transformations, and share them with his audience. He maintains,
Agonies are one of my changes of garments. I do not ask the wounded person how he feels. I myself become the wounded person.
Empathy tethers his work to complex human emotionality and the differences between logic and intuition. His poetry dives into a reality severely limited by societal constructs, conformity, judgment, and self-hatred, and he surfaces an imagery layered with humanity's compassionate accomplishments. Whitman attends to the perfection of every living being and considers all life forms equally representative of the same God, filtering his revelations through a macrocosmic lens that includes humanity in a cosmic ideal that is constantly moving towards enlightenment.
I hear and behold God in every object, yet understand God not in the least, nor do I understand who there can be more wonderful than myself.
Whitman's legacy as an iconoclastic poet will be remembered for generations to come. His transcendental and cosmic influences are still applicable and pertinent today, since they follow no direct narrative but a loose collage of people and places connecting in the world. The so-called father of free verse will continue to contribute to society's understanding of the idealist shift in the 1800s towards enlightenment and liberation from fear in the face of inner light. The omnipotence of Leaves of Grass, in addition to Whitman's brilliant spirit, can be described as indiscriminatory and eternal, as Whitman spoke of his legacy in his own words.
If you want me again, look for me under your boot soles.